All right. So let's see this particular question now. So over here, we are given two tables, exam table and the student table. Now this exam table has the scores which are scored by different students for different exams that they appeared for, right? For example, student ID 1 in exam ID 10 scored 70 score, right? So that is the information which is available in the exam table. And in the student table, we simply have the mapping between the student ID and the student name, right? What we need to do is we need to return all those student IDs with their names like this who have never scored either the highest marks or the lowest marks for any exam that they ever appeared for, right? So we need to, and such students who have never scored either the highest or the lowest score for any exam that they appeared for are called as the quiet students, right? So maybe you can just read this definition. A quiet student is the one who took at least one exam and did not score the highest or the lowest score, right? And we need to write a solution to report the students being quiet in all exams, right? And we don't need to return the student who has never taken any exam, right? And we need to return the result table ordered by student ID, right? So that's what we need to do. So now maybe you can just pause this particular video and try to write a query for this particular problem. And once you're done, you can just come back and check the solution here. Okay, so now to solve this particular question, we can go in the reverse direction, right? We can just try to first filter out all those students who have at least once for any of the exams that they appeared for, scored the highest or the lowest score, right? For any exam, even at least one exam, they have scored either the highest or the lowest score, right? We can just take out all those students first, right? And then once we have taken out all these students, such students, now the remaining students, right? The rest of the students will be the ones who are quiet, who have never scored either the highest or the lowest score for any of the exams that they appeared for, right? And now to figure out all those students, to take out all those students who have actually scored the highest or the lowest score at least once for any of the exam that they appeared for, what we can do is we can first calculate the maximum score for every exam and also the minimum score for every exam, right? And I can use window functions for that. So we can have two more columns over here. One will hold the maximum score for the corresponding exam and the other one will hold the minimum score for the corresponding exam, right? And then I can just put in a where condition that wherever my score of a student is equal to the maximum score or it is equal to the minimum score, just filter out those records, right? And then I will take the distinct of the student IDs from this particular result set, right? Those will be the student IDs, those will be the distinct student IDs who have scored either the highest or the lowest score at least once for any of the exam that they have appeared for, right? It will be that data set. And the remaining ones will be my answer, will be the ones who are quiet student who have never done this ever, right? In any of the exams, right? So that is the simple approach that we can follow. And now maybe let's jump to the IT and start writing the query for this. All right, so now let's implement the solution that we discussed. So first of all, what we need to do is we need to find the maximum and the minimum score for every exam, right? So for that, what I can do is I can select first of all from my exam table, right? Like this. And then I can take the maximum score over partition by exam ID, right? Because I have to take the maximum score for every exam, right? And now I can just alias this as maybe exam top score, right? Like this. And also what I need to do is I need to take the minimum score for every exam as well, right? So for that, I will just copy this over here like this. And now I will take, instead of maximum, I will take minimum. And I will just put the name as the lowest score instead of top score, right? This way. Now if I select this, I will get two more columns, one having the maximum score and one having the minimum score for the corresponding exam ID, right? Now what I need to do is I need to filter out those records from this particular data set where the score of the corresponding student is either equal to the exam top score or it is equal to the exam lowest score. I just need to filter out those records now, right? So let me do that. I will just select on top of this particular query, right? Like this. And I can say where my score is equal to. the exam top score, or the score is equal to the exam lowest score, like this, right? This is what I can do. And if I run this now, I will only get those records where the student ID has either scored the top score for that particular exam, or they have scored the lowest score for that particular exam, right? I will get only those records corresponding to those student IDs. And now what I can do is I can take the distinct of the student IDs, right, from this particular data set, like this, right? So now I will have a list of all the distinct student IDs who actually scored, the highest or the lowest score in at least one of the exams that they appeared for, right? So that's the list. So now maybe what I can do is I can just filter out, these distinct student IDs from my original data set, and the remaining student IDs will be the ones which I have to return, right? So maybe I can just filter out these student IDs now. And the way I will do it is I will just put this particular result set in a CT. I can call it as maybe non-quiet, right? Like this. And now what I can do is to filter out, these student IDs from the original data set, I can do a left join, first of all, with my exam table, right, of this particular CT. So I can just say select from exam, and I will say left join this CT, right, CT non-coed P on A dot student ID equal to B dot student ID, like this, right? And then I will say where my B dot student ID is actually equal to null, is null, right? Why? Because I'm going to find all those, I'm like trying to return those students who are not present in the CTE underscore non-quiet uh, table, but are actually present in the exam table, right? Because those ones will be the ones who are not a part of this list, right? Who actually scored the maximum score or the minimum score at least once for any exam that they appeared for, right? That's why I will do a left join, and then I will just put a filter on the B dot student ID wherever that is null, right? Only take those students, right? So that's what I will do. And again, what I can do is I can take distinct of student IDs, right? Distinct of A dot student ID, right? This will give me the list of the distinct student IDs who are quiet. And I just have one such student, right? Now what I need to do is I just need to bring in the student name of such quiet students, right? And to do that, I just need to join on the student table, right? And maybe what I can do is, just for simplicity and for readability, I can just put this entire result set in another CT, call it as maybe temp result, and then I can select on top of this CT now, right? CT temp result, like this, and I can inner join with my student table like this on A dot student ID, right? Like this, equal to B dot student ID, like this, right? And all what I need to do now is I need to select A dot, okay, let me just copy this, A dot student ID, and I need to select B dot student name, right? Like this. And I was missing the from clause. That's why I was not getting IntelliSense. But anyways, I did it the hard way. So now if I run this, this should be my output, right? I get the student ID and the student name for all those students who are quiet. That is, they haven't scored, they have never scored either the highest or the lowest score in any of the exams that they appeared for, right? So I hope you got the intuition. I hope you got the solution entirely. And I will see you in the next video now. Thank you.